Hi, I'm Eleni Kasparis. I'm a national account manager for Catererdotcom, and today I'm pleased to be catching up with Abi Dunn, the founder of 68 People, talking all things recruitment consultancy. So, discussing what's really happened in the industry, how Abby's been engaging with the hospitality industry throughout the last 6, 7 weeks, and what are plans moving forward, and just discussing really what we think the future is going to look like. So, hi, Abby. Thank you so much
Hey,
for joining me today. Do you want to just give
thanks for having me.
the audience a bit of an overview of you, who you are, what you do, and, well, pre-crisis, what you were doing?
Yeah, it's all changed. I run an agency called 68 People. We are Manchester based. We set up in January 2019, so quite new, as far as the sector goes. We're a team of six. And pure hospitality, and I suppose even within hospitality, quite niche. So bars, restaurants, experience businesses, and covering anywhere from kind of Birmingham north, really.
And hospitality is in your blood, isn't it? You've been in hospitality the majority of your life.
Yes, yeah. I started kind of collecting glasses and worked my way up with a company that at the time was called Inventive Leisure, and you'll know them as Revolution Bars now, and kind of was part of their journey as they opened sites in the noughties, and was became a GM for them, and then kind of ran their recruitment and training arm. So yeah, spent a long time with them.
Fantastic, fantastic. So this sits close to your heart then, and it is sad to see what's happened with the industry, but we don't want to go into the doom and gloom. We all know what's happened.
Yeah.
But what was just talk to me about that time when that dreaded March the 16th date happened? How did you react as a business, and how did you communicate with your team, and what's been happening internally with you?
Well, I'd like to say that I saw it coming and I knew and I was prepared, but I didn't, and maybe
Mhm.
naively so. And literally in a stream of phone calls on March the 16th, what was a really successful business became, kind of totally wiped out.
Yeah.
And about 30 phone calls one after the other, and we were just kind of all sat in the office looking at each other going, what the hell? Um, and so from that day, obviously, you know at that point that the things that you need to do, you take all the costs, as many costs as you can out of the business. Um, I was very honest with the team from the beginning. I wasn't, as we're such a new business, wasn't sat on a big pile of cash that could say, right, okay, we can keep this going for a few months.
Mhm.
The furlough scheme wasn't in place at that point. And so we did get, it was all very much doom and gloom. And we happened to be moving out of our offices to actually a bigger office space at the time. So not only were we kind of going through this, we were actually physically packing up the office as well. So it felt
Oh,
like
right.
total shutdown. We were all crying, very emotional, and just kind of looking at each other in silence. We didn't know what was going on. And then obviously when the furlough scheme was announced, that was a bit of a ray of light really, and allowed me to furlough the team, and I suppose that's where we are at the moment.
Perfect. Now I've met your team, so I know what they're like, and they're great characters, and I'm sure have
Yeah,
become your friends more than your employees throughout this
yeah,
as well. But
yeah,
what sort of things have you been doing then with your team throughout furlough? Because it's been, almost 2 months really now since it
yeah.
happened. So how have you been keeping them engaged?
Um, well, I think the biggest thing that I've done, is have been completely transparent about everything. So
Mhm.
I didn't want them to think that, I wanted to be honest about the business situation really, and even as far as the money in the bank, because I didn't want them thinking, they're all getting pay cuts and all this, and I'm sat on this, like I said, big pile of money. That wasn't the case at all. So I needed to be quite transparent about it. So being honest about, this is the situation. If X happens, this will have to happen. If Y happens, so that has kept everybody feeling, that I'm being open with them, and I think that's only good. Um, we've done things that everybody's doing as kind of quizzes and Zoom calls and all that. I don't know whether they were pleased with this, but I sent them all a bonsai tree kit to try
Excellent.
and kind of get them making something. And I think at first it was a bit of a novelty, and now it's, like a bit of a pain in the ass for them to look
They're
at.
actually really hard work. I bought my boyfriend one for Christmas, and they are hard work, but it gives them
So we're
something to
getting
do, I
regular
suppose.
updates on those, and I've just sent them. I read a book years ago about recruitment that I love, and I think it's one of the best books written about recruitment. So I've kind of sent them all that out, and we're planning to have a little book club session about that. But just we've always been on touch very regularly on WhatsApp. So we're keeping that going, and just making sure, like I say, that I'm being as honest as I can with where we're at.
Yeah, and I think that's important, isn't it? Because businesses that are closed off to their team. And there are things that you can tell them and can't tell them, I suppose, in certain situations. But I do feel that we are going to come out of this crisis, and that relationship and that bond has to be tight moving forward, so that your relationship will be even stronger moving on from there, which would be great. So I'm excited to see what these bonsai trees look like. I do.
Well, at the moment they're just poking out, so. And they've kind of named them and all that. So there's quite a bit of to and fro about those, which is nice.
Brilliant. And what was the book
actually yesterday? I sent them I looked through my camera and on my phone and put all the photos together of our last 12 months, and that your iPhone puts them to like really kind of inspiring music. So I sent them this little montage that made us all cry. So,
oh, brilliant. So what have you been doing yourself then? What's keeping you engaged with the industry, and what have you been doing to almost plan for the future if you can?
Yeah. I mean, you have ups and downs with it, I think, as I'm sure everybody does. Some days you wake up and you're like, right, okay, I feel really positive. Let's go out and fight and put up a fight. And then some days you're like, crikey, when does this end? Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying that it's been plain sailing, but we've really tried to look at where we can help, because we're not an operator. We can't, obviously we're behind the national timeout kind of campaign, and I'm trying to write things that are getting attention in some local press and some, pushing things out on my own social media. So trying to write and promote things that I think that people should get behind if they're in hospitality. From a candidate perspective, we've teamed up with a company called Vidleos, and just thinking, right, okay, in this time that people have got, what can people be doing? So we've done some training videos about writing CVs and about interview preparations, although that does seem a bit far off. But Vidleos have kindly offered us kind of free access to some of their online compliance training, so people can go on and do first aid qualifications, whilst they've got the time on their hands, and it's not their employer asking them to do it. So the take up on that has been quite positive. And I just think, people will be remembered for how they are responding in this time. I've taken over our own social media, so trying to have a positive, trying to have something positive on there. There's so much doom and gloom on kind of news channels and all that. So trying to put something positive out and give people some hope that that this is going to come back, and there'll be some form of normality coming soon.
Yeah, definitely. Just going back to the that kind of CV writing and interview prep, if candidates would like to access that service, where can they find that?
We've actually got a page on our website called Life After COVID, and on there there's actually a form to fill in to get a login code. We just need people's email addresses to send them a login code for the training platform, and then there's a couple of other bits on there that people can get in touch with. There's an area on there, actually. We're running and I'm not sure, the date might need to change depending on Boris Johnson really and his lockdown plans, but about a kind of recruitment trainings webinar for anybody that when it comes round to recruiting staff. So at the minute it's in at the end of the May. That might be a little bit too soon, but there's information on there as well about how to join that.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
So that's on our website.
What made you think about the idea behind, giving candidates that free opportunity to brush up on interview skills and look at their CVs, was there something that you were doing previously to that, or is it just a new idea that gives you something
Yeah,
to
I mean,
do as well?
we've always done it, and I've always wanted to, our purpose as a business is to shape, one of the elements of our purpose is to shape the industry, and I want to do that through making recruitment in general better. And I know some of the big operators are really good at it. It's slick. There's loads of process involved, but actually some of the more independent operators, it's not always great, and people have don't get back to people. The feedback's not great. The interviewing technique's not great. Even the induction process. And so being involved in that is something that's always been really important to me, and helping people just get better at that. So, from a candidate perspective, that keeping up that kind of candidate experience from us is something that I've always been really passionate about and want to keep on doing. Just generally trying to make, raise candidates' expectations. If I'm a firm believer, how you do anything is how you do everything. If it's a really crap advert and a really crap interview process, they're probably not going to be the best employer. So trying to, upskill candidates to look at the important things about an employer as well, is important to me and to 68 people.
Brilliant. Love that. So what's your thoughts? I know it's really hard to tell, and you kind of, like everybody, we're all just waiting to see what happens. But what are your thoughts on what the industry is going to look like in the near future and then going into next year?
Crikey, it's impossible to say, isn't it? And you don't want to be too Pollyanna-ish about it, and you don't want to be too nego about it. You've got to sit somewhere in the middle. But I certainly think in anything you'll be remembered for what you've done during this period. I think that technology will play a much bigger role than it's ever done before. If someone's looking for an element of change, I think, will all interviews now be done face to face? Probably not. Will all team meetings in hospitality, area meetings, all those things, will they be done face to face? Possibly not anymore. So being really confident around video and all that is something that, I'm trying to do myself, like, getting okay with a camera in front of you is something that you have to learn to do. I do think that people will always need people, so there are going to be, it's not, I don't think it's the death of the agency or anything like that. People are going to always need great people, but I do think, the cream will come to the top, as it were. The people who are offering, value for money, who are flexible maybe around payment terms, who are offering a great candidate experience, who have a really unique network of people, are going to succeed. I think if you do what you've always done, or expect to do what you've always done, you could come out of this surprised. And I think even within the hospitality workplace, underperformance won't be tolerated. I think people were right. You've got to be great. You've got to be engaged. You've got to be amazing at what you do. Otherwise, we haven't got time anymore for you, unfortunately. I think it'll be that kind of, you'll just have to be in it and completely, performing well and hitting all your KPIs. Otherwise, people will be looking elsewhere. But from an employer's perspective as well, employers have got to be great.
Yeah. Do you think there'd be a change in consumers and the way that we as hospitality lovers go out to eat and drink following this? So there's always, I think I'm in hospitality.
Go to. Yeah, I hate the idea of screens and social distancing, and I don't even, I can't bring myself to. I don't want a new normal. I just want normal.
You just want normal, because you wrote a really good piece around, all of our memories and experiences and meeting up, going on dates or meeting up with our girlfriends or going to parties, everything consumes around hospitality. So to think of a world without it is unimaginable, isn't it, really? We need to have hospitality to keep ourselves alive. So it'd be interesting to see what those trends are moving forward. But has there been anything that you've learned?
Oh, sorry, Len.
I was going to say, has there been anything that you've learned about the industry throughout this period? Is there something that surprised you that you've never thought before?
Well, I don't know if it's surprising, but it is amazing how people in hospitality as a sector come together. You know, whether that is even within the recruitment division of that, we are speaking to ultimately what our competitors are, but sharing knowledge and, kind of having each other's backs. And that is, I don't know what exists in other sectors because I don't work in them, but certainly in hospitality, everybody's come together. Everybody's, most people are living furloughed. So, that kind of camaraderie has really been very evident that I've seen. And it's, it makes me so proud to be part of hospitality. And certainly a lot of people have asked me, would you diversify and go into other sectors to build revenue? No, I can't do it. I can't do that. There's just no way.
Hospitality through and through. That's why we love it and hate it, all in the same breath, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for all of your time. Is there anything else that you wanted to discuss or talk through in our catch up today?
No, I think that's great, Len. Thank you. I've enjoyed chatting. Thank you.
Yeah, no, many thanks for your time. And let's just hope that we get some positive news sooner rather than later. But you know what? I know 68 people will do fantastic things. You've always been on this crusade, and this is just a wave that your crusade has to go over. So you're always on this crusade, and I'm really excited to see what innovative things that you guys can do. And remember, anyone that's listening, if you do want to engage, if you are an employer and you want to engage with Abi in upskilling your recruitment team or upskilling yourself on that process, or if you're a candidate and you're looking to get some interview tips or relook at your CV, please do reach out to Abi. I'm sure she'll be more than happy to help you. But stay safe and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Len. Thank you.
No worries.